one of the things I'm trying to think. Before we transition to the coaching piece, and change management, another thing you need to understand about clubs is that clubs have several different levels of play, right? So if you could join a club as a little kid and stay in that club, grow up in that club, and play ball in that club as an adult, all the way up to the semi-pro and perhaps I guess it would be pro level here, depending on the club you're in, right? Because each area, well, some areas have some seriously pro clubs, and there's some good players have come out of Europe, as many of you basketball folks know. Some good players have come out of Europe, and that's the one thing. The second thing is Kingsley mentioned how well his team did. Now I'm going to tell you what we call Kingsley Ball. Those of us that know Kingsley, Kingsley coaches a style of play. He can explain it better than me, but this is my understanding. He coaches a style of play that's sorry folks, balls to the wall, baseline to baseline. Hustle basketball, heavily defensive minded. Now, I'll let him explain for you basketball heads. We'll explain your stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, my philosophy in basketball is very simple. I mean, you have to work harder than your opponent works. You know, if your opponent is working harder than you are, I don't care how talented you are. You are setting up yourself for a disappointment because it boils down to hard work.
You hear that?
And the saying that makes this very simple is that hard work beats talent, and talent doesn't work hard.
I got that. Yeah.
On the other hand, if talent works hard, you fuck.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Don't worry about it. I'll beat that. I'm not beeping that out.
That saying explains everything about basketball. You know, for me, that's all about basketball. And there's no part of basketball that demands hard work than defense.
Amen. Yeah.
You know, than defense. So basically, everything starts on defense. You want to generate energy in your style of play, it starts with defense. I don't think you can really generate energy from offense enough to win a game.
Okay.
You know, if you work hard on defense and you can frustrate the other team, it's not about your energy being higher than the other team's energy. It's about the other team's energy being lower than that. You can influence it.
No, you can take away from it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know,
right.
You can rip a team's heart by frustrating them every time. You know, and as if you have 5 guys on the court doing that, you increase your chances of winning the game by tenfold. I think that's my point of view.
I'm a defense guy.
You know, that's my point of view.
I'm with them. I'm 100% with them.
On the other hand, discipline is everything. You know, I don't care how hard you work if you don't have the discipline
to be where you're supposed to be,
make the right decisions based on what we've talked about, what we have agreed to do. If you don't have that discipline to execute, I mean, do things the way it's required of you, that team concepts goes out of the window. You know, so these two things you can almost not separate them: hard work, discipline.
Absolutely. Okay.
You know? So I think every coach should start when you get a new team. I don't care what the situation is. You have to make this a simple understanding, and I use the word simple. It's not simple, but it's a simple understanding that you and your team have, that we work hard and we're disciplined.
Those are the keys.
I would say don't move on to anything else until these two things is an understanding. Not for one practice, not for one game, but this is how we live.
That's it. The team's personality, the team's philosophy. Yes.
And that's where it starts for me.
Okay, all right. But now we're getting ready to transition. Did you want to say anything else about the youth? You work with the youth. Did you want to say anything else?
Well, I mean, basically that's how far. All I can add is that this model. I mean, when I built this one, built this totally my idea. You know, I started going to the schools and getting these. I don't know I don't know about other parts of the country then, but that was what I did. You know, came the idea of the middle step after school program and the club program.
Yeah.
So this became a model that was adopted by the national government.
Yeah.
You know, as a program, they asked me to write, you know, a total report on it, plan on it, and report on it. And they took it, and they approved it, and they really took. There are cities in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and all those places.
Yeah.
They took over that
program.
program. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really.
See, that's why we do interviews, so we can learn stuff.
That was it was taken over and was implemented with a lot of success, though.
Yeah, I bet.
No, because there were a lot of social programs in all these cities that were stuck. You know, they really didn't know how to go about it.
They had some funding and they didn't know how to do it. Okay.
They didn't have a program that really connect from point A to point B to point C. You know, they knew where they wanted to go, but how to work this out to them. But when they saw how I worked this out, it took up, and they took it as a national program, and a lot of communities benefited from it.
I didn't know that, my man.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, because when I left Europe, well, I left Europe in 2000, going contracted, but I was in and out, but I didn't know it had gotten that big. Wow, I didn't know that. I can say I played a role in that. Yeah. I knew Kingsley win.
Yeah.
So
and I told you about the political side of it.
Yeah.
I didn't get any credit for that.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
My boy, I wrote down. That's how politics.
We know how that works.
when the program got there and got adopted, they didn't say Kingsley's program. No,
they didn't. But we're setting the record straight here. Louisa Project 2027. We're setting the record straight.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have some contact information for Kingsley. If you're interested in a program like that, he can help consult on that. So just let us know. You know, you fly him in. He'll walk you guys through the steps if that's something you wanted to do. Take his plan out, change it back to English. But if you want some consulting help on that, please contact us. There'll be contact information underneath the video here in the comment section, and rather in the right below the video. I mean, I'm not even trying to think about that. All right. So now we're going to transition into change management. Right now, another thing that you guys don't know about Kingsley is I mentioned it earlier. He's a turnaround specialist. He'll go to a club that's doing fair to middling, sometimes very poorly, and they bring Kingsley in because of his style of ball. He'll turn that club around in 1, 2, 3 seasons. That's his thing. So I'm gonna let him talk a little bit, and we're gonna try to take a look at this as managing change in other aspects, whether it be business or whether it be your personal life, or how your personal life can meld with your business. So let's talk. I'll let Kingsley talk about how you view change management.
The youth program that I talked about from school was I was working with Blue Stars Ministry. It was also a basketball club here, and out of that program I started. But when I started working with this club in terms of basketball development and stuff like that, the situation inside there was terrible. They didn't have members. Coaches were not motivated. They were not competitive. It was more like babysitting program. Kids can come in. But I mean, they were okay with it. They wanted it, but they didn't know how to go about to change this. But in these type of situations, it's all about culture in the club. That's where it all started. I mean, and this it's incredible how these kind of situations just develops, and without you really knowing
how
you get there. And then once you get there, you get comfortable. At one point it becomes a comfort zone. You don't want to be there, but once you're there, and you turn around and you see this is where I am. If you look at your way of getting back or moving forward or getting out of it, whichever way you look at it, it takes so much effort that you kind of
get comfortable.
Comfortable at it.
Yeah, we're good. So we'll be all right.
Yeah. So
we'll drink some beers after practice.
Exactly. And then everybody gets comfortable, and everybody thinks, well, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be. They get used to it, So personally, I think in changing the situation, like we talked about changing, it's first to tackle the culture in the club. You got to have take a very good look at it and say where the problem is. Because people get most of them, if you ask them, they wouldn't even know why. They don't see anything wrong with the situation.
we're just doing bad right now. Things are getting better next year.
And also they find they don't want. A typical example is that I was in the club and I was playing basketball with them and I was having fun with them and stuff like that. But I know that I could sense it's easier because I was from outside. I just came in. I didn't go into it, but I
new set of eyes. Yeah.
So I could really look at the situation from a different perspective. They have been in so long that they don't even have any ways of looking at it with any perspective. They've gotten used to it, so it's acceptable for them. But for me, it was not acceptable, because I didn't have that luxury of having gotten used to it. You know what I mean? So I could easily say that you don't have kids coming in. The kids that are in are not disciplined, they're not motivated, they're not competitive. So they're used to that. The coaches accept it. So you can't do that. So the first thing you see is that the culture in the club, and that has to change. That's one.
Yeah.
And the second, where do you start? It's effort. And at one point, you have to find out you don't have that much effort, so you have to make a decision. There are some generation that you might be able to change, and there's the generation that you can say, this will take me too much effort. You know what I mean? So basically, you have to have a cutoff point. Okay, this group of kids, at times, mostly after 16 years, it's difficult to change them.
Remember, it's after 16 years old, folks.
No. I mean, when they were that old and they've been in that culture for so long, because basically at that age, their education is very important for them. Okay. And
basketball is just recreation,
they get into relationships and they have a lifestyle already, and trying to change them will be an uphill battle, because you have to in any change they have to be motivated. So you have to have something that they can look up to and say, yes, I want this so bad that I'll have to sacrifice some of my time that I put into my relationship, my education and stuff like that, because at 16 years your time you put into education is more than when you're 14 years. You have to study more than that. So basically, personally, my cutoff point is 16 years and older. They can go.
Go on,
go ahead with things like that, and then from the rest, lower than that, we try to find coaches. We try to give a different approach to stuff, give different spin to stuff, and try to give them a goal, motivate them, and try to get things going. And that's how I approach a club when I come in. I look at the culture, that is, which areas need a little bit of change of attention and stuff like that. And then secondly, where is my cutoff point? Which group? At times you can have a group of around 16 years and maybe a bit older, that you see that although they are in a club that is not motivated, you see some of these kids that love the sport, they have passion for the sport, they want to do but the culture
doesn't allow it.
If I have a situation like that, I know that now these are kids are hungry, they want to do something. That
you can adapt.
Exactly. So that's part of the evaluation. There are even at times that you can have 14-year-olds that you think lost generation. I can do my. No, it's a hard decision. You really,
it's like triage.
It's not different from business or anything. There are times you have to make those hard decisions. You can have a group that talent-wise there isn't that much inside. They might be 14 years, at times maybe even younger, but little talent, no drive. they're not a lost generation as opposed to what you can do with them. It's just that there's not enough talent in them, and character-wise, you won't be able to have that energy to put it. If you go back now and take 8 years, 7, 8 years, 9-year kids, you can do a whole lot.
Yeah, you can build them into something.
Yeah. So if you have the resources to really do that change, and mostly you do that with getting them into basketball camps in the summers or in the break, like Easter holidays. If you have 5-6 days, you got them into some camp. You get other top coaches to come in, and but all this, you can do all these things. But the point is that at times you might be putting too much on their plate that they can. That is an evaluation.
Yeah, and your time is limited because you got year-to-year.
Exactly. Are you taking that away from a group of kids who can do better,
can make an impact quickly?
So a lot goes into play when making all those decisions. So really, it's a matter of where the culture, second the cutoff point, and then after that, try to find the coaches and the management. When you talk to most of them, you can find who can be your allies. Because change comes very difficult. People will resist.
Yes.
From that point going, you go into, so there's the sports side of it, and then there is the management. I always don't say management, I say the politics side.
The leadership.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You have to have allies, and then in bringing in new changes. Where that comes very difficult to a lot of people. And when you try to make changes, you will have a lot of people who have been comfortable in that situation for so long that will resist.
And something you guys gotta understand is a lot of these clubs have guys, 30, 40 years old still playing basketball, and they're set in their ways. Their wife may be on the board of the club, and there's all kinds of political stuff going on that you have to
tread carefully.
You have to tread very carefully, because you're the new guy, right? Because you can go, because that guy's been in the club since he was a little kid, and he lives in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of landmines that have to be navigated, and that's what one of the things that Kingsley does very well is navigating those landmines and finding a way to drag this whole club kicking and screaming into a new way of doing things. I'm sorry, go ahead. So we had to. So we talked about change. We talked about managing change a little bit. So you're also a businessman. So how do you take this change? How would suppose me? Okay, say I go to a new business and I'm a new manager, all right? I'm a new manager and I come in and I'm like, what's the first thing I should do when I want to bring change?
Well, like you said rightly that I'm a businessman and I'm also a sportsman. Because the sports part of it is more recreational than business, although there's a business side of it to it.
But there's still that love.
But you see, you play more. You have to play politics when it comes to that sports part of it because because of its recreational nature of it. How you have people who are. You deal with a lot of volunteers. These people are not paid; they are working their heart out because they love their club and stuff like that. So your approach is totally different from when it comes to business. When it comes to business, both situations, results is key.
Absolutely.
Okay. But in business, it's more results
oriented
than process.
Okay.
You will need a team to go with you in business also. When you come in there and it's no different. I think with business also you have to study the culture in the club, because I think everything starts with the culture that's dominating in the club. How people get along with each other, what is the philosophy of the business and how we want to.
Who the power players are.
Exactly.
Yeah, informal and informal.
And these things goes automatically. Nobody sets up these rules that this and that and that and that. But over the years, it develops into a very comfortable. I always say culture is the comfort level of workers or managers in a business. You know, they get comfortable with doing things in a particular way. Okay, without really sitting down and say, hey, how are we going to go about it? You know what I mean? You know, it takes its form, and it can be a very competitive environment, or it can be an environment where everybody say, okay, no, don't worry, if it doesn't work out today, we'll do it tomorrow. You know, there are deadlines and getting it done and stuff like that. These things just takes shape automatically over the years as people get along with each other, or the management allows things to go by one way or the other. So basically, first you have to do is just observe and see what kind of culture is it result oriented, is it body oriented, is it whatever it is, you know. So basically, that is always it's the same steps, you know, and mostly, you know, like in basketball, you know, if I'm a coach, if I take over a new team, for example, also same thing culture. But what you see is that in every situation, there's one person who leads whatever culture that is in the team. There's somebody, you know, because if you have 30, 40 people over there,
somebody they all look up to.
Yes, you know, you will have the leader and it most of the time it doesn't have to be the outspoken person. You always have in a basketball team you have a captain. The captain is not always the most outspoken person. You know, you have the emotional leader.
The informal leader.
Exactly. So you always how a group relates to each other is a key that. In order to bring change, you have to have a very good understanding how people relate to each other in
your
an
organization.
organization. Exactly. You know, and whose role is in that. If you know this, it's easier to change because you can call in the emotional leader and sit him down and find a way. You can sit back and look at all these things, and you can learn a little bit more about the emotional leader. You can learn a little bit more about the vocal leader, and you can have, like in a basketball, the captain is not always the best player, you know, and the best player is not always the hard-working player. You know, these are things you have to know.
You
know, when you take over a team and you want to coach, you have to who's my best player. You know, who is my hardest working player. You know, who is my emotional. All these things go into how a team is managed. So when we talk about a coach knowing which buttons to press in a team, that's what we're talking about. And it's not different from business though. You know, if you want to bring in change, after knowing all these people, you learn a little bit more about the person, you know, and how he thinks and how he goes about things. So if you want to program this person to what your goals that you want, how do I do that? That's
the hard part.
So you take all these pieces that constitute the keys to change or status quo. If you get all these things, you can sit down and really plan how you want to change. So you can call these people one by one in. The approach to this, because you know what you want this guy to do to effect that change. You want what the emotional leader how you want to talk to him about the changes that you want and how you want to motivate him to go the direction you want him to go. The hardest working guy, because the hardest working guy is the guy who sets the standards of how hard we work here. You know?
And everybody respects that.
Exactly.
Guy. Everybody respects
that. And they know. You know, you give me every team of about. Let me take basketball for example. If you take a team of 12 players and you sit them one by one and you ask them who is the hardest working player on your team, you will find out that at least 90% of them will point out the same guy.
The same guy,
You know, it's not like they've sat down and talked about it and come.
But they just see it every practice, every game.
Yes.
They're like, damn, that dude's working hard.
Exactly. You know,
I'm glad he's working hard.
And also, damn, that guy makes me look bad. I just thought I'd give doing my best, trying to, run up and down, and he just go, that's it. So how does he do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So unconsciously, so all these things that are pointed about it, these players don't sit down and talk about it, but unconsciously they know these things, and they know although they don't consciously know what influence these people have on them and the team as total, they are aware of it. So the moment you consciously ask them, when they sit down and think, oh yeah, that's a guy.
Yeah.
So everybody knows those. So these are the little things that you have to know when it comes to your team. A typical example is, when you take San Antonio Spurs and you talk about Tim Duncan, if Greg Popovich can really stand up and shout and dominate, say something to Tim Duncan, instructing him, and you was like, oh my God, did you see how he talked to Duncan?
I guess I better get my stuff together.
That's right.
I guess I better start playing.
but at times it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
Greg and Tim have sat down and talked about it already. Tim knows that Greg is going to go out on him.
Yeah.
So he'll take that.
Yeah.
Because he knows the message that goes to other players.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it easier for Greg to coach the other guys. That's why Greg Popovich often says, Tim allows me to coach him. Superstars, they have to allow you to. You cannot coach them if they don't want to.
I've been there.
Believe me. If a superstar that won't allow you to coach him, you cannot coach him. So when you go to a club, these are the things you find who you can make your allies. If you give them enough motivation to play along with you, believing that the greater goal is also in his interest, that's the key. So these are the things you have to know when you go into that's applied to business.
Absolutely.
If you want to change a culture, or if you want to change management in a team, or whether it's business or sport, you got to know
who your key players are. Absolutely.
And
hope you're taking all this in. This is good stuff. Go ahead, continue.
And you incorporate that in your plan to bring about the change.
Whatever that change is.
And you will evaluate them on a daily basis. And at times, you get to a point where it's either he goes or I go. Because you cannot always bring the change the way it goes. If they allow you, like I said, if the superstar allow you, you can get a lot done. But if the superstar, you can. An example is LeBron James and what is the name of this coach that got? Oh man, I'll look it up and I'll let you. If the superstar won't let you coach him,
you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
The team or the business will have to say, okay, it's either you or the superstar. You know what I mean?
And then the money comes into play.
Exactly.
Money,
And so that's the way it is. It's the same in business. You come in, you have to really evaluate the situation, be observant, and those keys that are important to effect change. You got to figure that out, and based on what you have, you study the keys well individually, and then how these guys can fit into your plan to bring about change, and how you're going to communicate. Everything is loved into each other, and basically that's how I see change. You cannot go into a team, into a club or a business and say, well, here I am, change is coming.
Not with adults.
That's it. That's it. There might be some other people who go in there with that fist on the table and get their changes done. You might be successful in doing that. How long you have that success? Because you need a motivated team behind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at times ruling with fear works, and at times it doesn't. But I'll say, being smart about bringing that change without losing key players in your team is always the best way to go.
Okay, all right.
And that is change based on respect, not on fear.
Yeah. Because I've seen several of your teams, and I've seen some of the ups and downs, and and that guy is always easy to pick out. There's that guy. That's the guy. That's the guy to do Kingsley Brown. That's the guy.
I've had a lot of situations like that.
Yeah.
Because the point is that you cannot always have things your way, even as a coach, as a leader. You got to give them also a leeway. Let them make also mistakes, and that's part of it. And at times, you always have that guy on the team that gives you some hard headaches. You got to take the good with the bad, and
absolutely.
Navigate your way through it. And most of the time, you get your results.
Yeah, but I've seen you turn a couple of guys around. I've seen a long haul, but I've seen you turn a couple of guys around.
Yeah, it's easier. It's easier when they have a feeling that you have you have to. They always say the basic is that you have to tell them the truth. At times, it's tough. The truth can be very, very hard, but they will appreciate it
in the long run. Yeah.
You lie to them, you won't be there long. You might have a short success, but it won't be that long. It's always good to be truthful with them. Even the toughest kind of decisions, you got to let them know.
The truth is important. Be truthful with your people. That's important.
And I've turned some guys around, and I've had to live with some headaches and say, okay.
As long as he can put the ball in the hoop.
What can I say? And in those situations, you don't only have to live with it, but you have to also convince the rest of the team that
we've done what we can.
That's who he is. We all have to live with it. That's the toughest part of it, to get all the rest of the team to understand that he's going to be what he is. In every family there's one. There's one. Yeah,
I'm that one in my family.
But I'll be honest with you. Whether in business or sport, the most difficult thing to do is change management. Because the word change really is something that makes a whole lot of people uncomfortable.
A whole lot of people uncomfortable.
Change means, the reason why it's called change is that you change because you are comfortable at a sport, and now you have to leave that sport for the unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's hard.
If you were not comfortable there, they won't call it change. They will call it redirection. So you're in motion, and then now you are not there. So if you want to go another direction, that's just redirection. But when you talk about change, which means you are here and you want to go to the other side, it's not a forward movement. It's
a lateral movement.
I always say lateral movement
in order to go forward.
Exactly. The forward movement is always redirection. If I'm moving this way and I'm out there, it's okay, move that way. So it's but the change is when you are comfortable at one point and you find out that it's not working, and you have to do something different. So you have to step aside and go forward. It's not and people giving up their comfort is just something.
It's hard.
Believe me.
Believe me. I like I said, I've seen a few of your teams, and I've been through this a few times with football, going to teams, and going in and hoping for one thing, and doesn't always turn out that way. I got lucky enough that some guys have followed me like you have, and some guys have followed me from team to team, and help change the culture. When you come in with a group of guys, especially if they can play. And say, okay, these guys are really good. They listen to this guy, like you said with Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich. They listen to this guy. Oh, why shouldn't we? It makes the transition a little bit easier. Unfortunately, the guys that were me were really talented. I still love you guys, but we're a pain in my ass. but you take the good with the bad. But there was something else I wanted to ask you. What's for you? Once I'm gonna ask you to tell me a story.
Okay.
Give me how give me a point. Say you come to change this. You come to change this club. When does the light bulb go on and say, we're here? Give me a story when that happened to you.
Yeah, I remember the first time I was in Belgium. I was in Belgium. After my program with the youth, when we went to the national championship with the youth club, I got approached by this club, and that's a club team came to practice with.
Yeah. I remember those guys.
Yeah, so they approached me and they said, well, we have first they wanted me to run their youth program, and I did it for a year or two, and then they wanted me to. So I had after 3 years, I had a group of 17, 18-year-olds who were really ready to take the next step to get into the senior team. So they told me, okay, you can take over the first team. Our goal is that we want you to, over a period of time, integrate your youth players into the first team. So my first year as a head coach over there, I was at the same time coaching the junior players. They were not actually juniors; they were cadets, which means junior is from 18 years, but these kids were 17 and younger. Okay, so I was coaching their senior team, and at the same time their youth team. For the first year, I didn't use any of the youth players, but the second year, I had the whole team move over to the first team. And that was
that's
for my balance, I needed some veterans to stay to really give me the balance that I needed, and that's where what we talk about change. I knew that was going to happen the year after that. Okay, after the first year, these young guys would be ready to play with the first team, and I sensed some serious resistance in the team.
Especially older guys. I've been playing here for 20 years.
And that was the start. That was the problem though. I had a very good relationship with the whole team, and we had a very good season at that time. And we lost our point guard. Well, we could have gone for the championship, but we ended up, I think, 5th or 6th place among 12 teams in that year. And I lost my key point guard halfway through the season. So for that position at that time was really good. The problem was that the management wanted what I wanted, and they thought I was moving too fast. They thought I was moving too fast. So I told them that the senior players I wanted to stay. There was only 4 of them out of the 10 players. 4 of them, I want 4 of them. So I practically wanted 6 guys off the team, and they just couldn't take it.
Man,
they thought that change was too radical.
It's radical.
Basically, I'm stubborn like that. If I want something, I'll have to push it through. We sat down, we talked a lot. They talked to the players without really letting them know what my intentions was. It was tough, so they decided not to do that. But I said, okay, no problem. I'll gradually introduce them in and stuff like that. But when it comes to the situation like that, you have some players in mind that you don't want to use anyway. So now through another season,
weeding those guys out.
Weeding these guys out.
Yeah.
And so all the junior players, youth players, are always eligible to play in the first team anyway, without having to go through any special registration and stuff. They can play with the first team anyway. So what I did was that I had to challenge these kids, the young guys, to perform at the same level as these older guys that I wanted to. So what we agreed was that all the players were going to stay. I think one guy was going to stop. The guard that got injured was not coming back, so I had 8 already. So I could use 2 players, and I could get in more players anytime. I could do whatever I want at that time. But they were practicing together at that time. So there was a constant evaluation and comparison about the youth players and the older players at that time. And
so they had to meet that level. Yeah.
But what I did was that I really challenged these kids at practices to go at these older guys and really
show them that you're ready to play.
Yeah. So at one point, there was a game. There was there was a festival, yearly festival that takes place in Belgium outside. They call it Carnival. I think you know Carnival.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Carnival.
And when
Mardi
Carnival,
Gras for some people. Yeah, it depends on where you are in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the Carnival, all these older guys, they like to go and party.
Yeah.
So if there's a game, most of them don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Perfect opening.
Perfect opening. And we had an important game at that time, and I was going to have to go to the game with 5 or 6 players. So I invited these youth guys. And we went there, and it was against a really tough team. And these guys performed. They performed. So I mean, the board of the technical team was there. You know, technical director of the club, and some of the managers and stuff like that were all there. And they saw it. They were like, "Oh wow!" Not that it's not like they've not seen anything that these kids can do, but they do it against youth players. So they always thought they cannot do the same.
I think I remember this thing. He had a little white kid, his point guard, jump out of the gym.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. I mean, the energy with. I always say this: you cannot beat the energy that these kids can use to play.
Playing Kingsley Ball.
Yeah, they go up and down the court like they're crazy. They will dive on the floor. They will do all those little things that the older guys. I'm not saying that the older when you're older, you're more experienced. You know, you're always one step ahead.
You're crafty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you also so you don't have to use so much energy as this.
Yeah.
But if a younger guy can use his energy to make you uncomfortable, you know, that's the point.
Yeah.
Young guys, your goal is not to really compete with him because they're experienced, they're smarter than you. You don't want to go into that area. What you want to do is make them uncomfortable with your energy. You know, just ruffle them up, force them to do things differently. That
take them out of their comfort zone.
Exactly. You know, so that's basically the key with how we play in that. So after that game, we thought, okay, we could try more games like that.
Right back where you want to start, yeah.
You know, so basically, although we started saying no, I mean, halfway through the season, these kids were playing.
I love it.
You know, this is a thing. And every year, 2 teams go up and 2 teams we promote with 2 teams. So 2 teams are going to go up. And
well, let me explain that. When in this level of play, there's different levels, right? The top 2 teams will go up, and the bottom 2 teams will come down. Like it's like this is Class A, this is Class B. At the end of the season, the top 2 teams will go up, and the bottom 2 teams will come down. That way, you keep some fresh blood.
Competition gets tougher as you go up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So although we started the season with 7 of that old guys, you know, and 3 youth guys who just come into field. By the end of the first half of the season, okay, we were playing with 6 of the young guys and 4 of the older guys.
Right where you started from.
Exactly. You know, exactly. And believe me, we could have been champions that year, but we just missed. I think if I had my way in the beginning of the season, we would have been champions.
Yeah.
You know, we ended up 2nd place and we had to promote. At that point, we know that the other 4 older guys
aren't as useful as they used to be.
You know, so at that point, we know our younger generation was coming.
Yeah,
you know,
they
have arrived.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So for personally, the key was that the management and the technical team really didn't believe that these kids were ready. You know, and it's not only about that. Also, they were if they didn't have any option. Let's say at the end of the season, 7 guys the 7 of those guys, if they didn't have option, they would have gone out. But because they had the comfort of these older guys being there, change became a difficult thing for them. But when it was forced on them,
it's here now.
It's here now. And at the end of the season, when we played 2nd and we were going to go up, they were so excited. They really did. Kingsley, what do you want to do? I kept 2 guys and let the other 2 guys go. And so the following year, I had only 2 guys who were older than 18 on my team. going out to a really serious level. So basically, this at that point, I knew we had arrived. Basically that's how it goes.
That was the click point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But basically, I always say coaching of leadership of management also at times it's more guts than you have to listen to your instinct a little bit. At times you can feel something about your team and go with that.
Yeah, and other people don't see it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're not there with these guys every day.
So basically, those things factor into a lot of things that you do when you find yourself in management and change situations, because you cannot always go with X and O's and all those kind of things. At times you really have to feel, because I always say coaching has a lot to do with feeling. You got to feel your team. You got to feel the mood in your team. Because I always believe that your team will play exactly the way you want them to. And I don't
intended or
exactly.
Not.
And I don't think that your team's energy level should be higher than the coach. So you always have to be on the same level in terms of energy with your team, or a little bit higher.
Okay.
But you have to be under control. That is always a fact. You cannot be too high, too low. But you have to be able to adopt a level of energy that is consistent. At times you can afford to be laid back when your energy guy picks up for you. If you have a team that you have an energy guy, you can afford to stay back, because he will make sure that exactly. But if you don't have that, you as a coach, you have to be always
push. Sometimes pull, but push.
And that's what I mean by knowing your team a little bit. And if you feel the energy too low, you can pull your mind and say, listen, our energy is low. We gotta go out there, yell a little bit, pump a little bit, and get the team going. And then say, hey guys, come on, we gotta do this. If you have the guy who steps in and say, let's go guys, and you see everybody picks up and then it goes, it spends a lot of energy for you as a coach.
Absolutely.
Especially when you know the buttons to push and how to get them. If you need a bit of hard work, you gotta tell your hardest worker, look, you gotta push this button, man. You gotta get these people who follow you when you keep on. And then he goes in there, he throws himself down a little bit, and he jumps, and everybody is getting, and then everybody
picks it up.
It's knowing what you need at one time and who is going to give it to you.
And how to get it out.
Of that place, So basically, when you know all these kind of things, that's when you say you know your team. You can feel your team. That's an ultimate level that every coach has. You can go through. There are times you can find yourself in a situation where you can go through a whole season without really getting that feeling with your team. It's a terrible place to be as a coach.
I've been there too. That's time my guys didn't go with me.
every game you're looking to how do I get it? It's a terrible place. That's happened to me a couple of times. That really I never could get hold of the team. I never could really get it. And there are times you walk in and you make your observations and you start talking to the players one-on-one and knowing what they can do and how they feel in the team and everything. Everything clicks, and when you push this button, it goes, and push that button, it goes, oh, you're like, oh boy, I love this. You can sit back and at times people will be looking at it, the coach doesn't do anything. I don't have to do anything. I got all my work done, right? My job is to do stuff. All I have to do is say, and then he knows what I need, and
he knows what makes it happen.
That's an ideal situation. A lot of coaches don't get to that point, or managers don't get to that point where they know how to push the buttons of the organization to get a maximum out of them. But if you're lucky and you find that, man, it's an ideal place to be.
Okay. All right. I got one more question for you. It's unplanned. It just occurred to me now.
No problem.
All right. Some of you may or may, of course you guys don't know. All right. My youngest son, Xavier, this is his godfather. His youngest daughter, I'm her godfather. Right? So, Amy, my goddaughter, his daughter, was recently in a tournament, a basketball tournament. She's an up and coming basketball star. She plays Kingsley Ball, baseline to baseline. Her coaches love it. So, I know this is a little bit off of change management, but as a coach, how do you deal with a child that talented? How do you help them become better without becoming that mean dad?
Oh, bro.
You curveball. Because I'm a mean dad.
Oh, bro. I tell you, man. Oh, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yo, I'll be honest with you. I have had my struggles with Amy. Serious.
I
tell you, serious.
Yeah.
It's because I love her so much. And
you want the best for her, yeah.
There are very often times we go to a basketball court and I'll be coaching, and when I walk on court, I'm a totally different person.
Yeah, no shit.
At home we play, we do our own thing. But I walk on court, I don't see her as my daughter.
Yeah, she has a place.
She cannot change that. She walks on court, she wants me to teach her basketball, but she doesn't want to. She can't really deal with my way of coaching. You know what I mean?
But she turned out to be a player.
Yeah.
like you coach. That's the crazy part, yeah.
The point I'm trying to get to is that I really have to also sit back and say, okay, if I really want to help her, I cannot stay in that bubble. She seeing me as a father and I walking on court and being a coach and trying to, performance oriented coach, and you gotta do that, you gotta do that. She's not getting used because I don't do that with her at home. We'll chill, we'll cool, we watch films together, we sit down, we play games, we talk, all those father-daughter stuff and things like that. And she thinks that. So I have to find a way, to use what we have to get what we want.
To get her where she needs to be,
and what she needs, and that was a battle. But I finally found a way to do that, and it's been very, very positive. It's been very, very positive.
So the change manager got to change the way he manages.
I say, okay, I'm not a coach. Okay, I know I'm a coach. I know I do what I do, but in this situation, it's not working. So do I stay in that, or I just have to find a way to get it done? And that's how I did. I found a way to walk on court with her and try to let her do her own things and then put my things. So let her feel like I'm just adding to what she's doing. I'm not trying to do. And then I'll make suggestions. At times I make suggestions. No, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do my way. Okay, no problem. And sometimes she will find out that maybe Daddy was right. But she's a very, very determined woman, and she, as a woman girl, but she really works hard when she believes that something is in her own interest. So all I have to do is that find a way to convince her that it's better for her to do it this way than the other way, And then when she's convinced, takes on, and then she keeps working at it. And because she knows that I love her unconditionally, what I mean by that is that the way I relate to her, basketball has nothing to do with that. She can go to a game and have a bad game, and as analytic as I am, I can watch a game and see what she's doing, but I won't say a word. I won't say a word. She asked me, how did I do? I said, you did okay, you did good. No, but I didn't do that. I said, yeah, I did good. Like a few things here and there could have been different. You did very well. And she looked at me like, really? I said, yeah, really. So I'll leave it at that for a while. I'll leave it at that for a while. But she will always come back.
We can't let her watch this,
She will always come back and say, okay, maybe I could have done that. Yeah, I think you could have done that. But see, there are other kids who get that far without having a daddy coaching them. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I do should be an extra. It shouldn't be a. You know what I mean? I have to try. I have to give her the room to develop that independent development that she needs, and then I can just help and put stuff into it, things like that. That's how it worked for us.
That's good.
That's how it works. There are times that she will say, "Come on, Dad, Pop, let's go and work, let's go and work, let's go and work," and I'll be very happy, and I'll go and work. And there are times she just wants to be Papa, Daddy, daughter, play. Now I have a better feeling to feel of that. You know, before when I say let's go, I think, oh, let's go. Then I will go and work. No.
That you want?
Sometimes she just wants to go out there and shoot around and play one-on-one against me and beat me at times. I beat her at times. And, you know, at times that's all what she wants to do.
Yeah.
You know, but at the beginning I thought, no, she said she wants to work out, so let me go and work her out. You know, so you know, it was a really an up and down struggle, but I think we found where I can feel now very well what she wants when she says let's go and play, and I can feel very well what she wants to play basketball or she wants to learn basketball. But I've enjoyed every minute of our time on the court and stuff like that. I still look forward to more time like that.
That's great. All right, brother. I think that's it, man. Tell people how they can get in touch with you, brother.
Oh, I'll give Mike the information, and
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So this is my main man, Kingsley Augustus Hayford. My brother.
Yeah, bro. Good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you, man. I haven't seen him in 2 years. It's been 2 years since I saw him.
2 years ago.
You know, we talk like maybe once a month, once every other month, but never any love lost. You know, the brother's always been here for me. Man, at some of my lowest times of my life, this dude has been there. Right? So let's well, if I can't give my brother some applause. Right? So that's it for this episode of the Louisa Project. I think I'll just put this as the weekly episode. Again, there'll be contact information for Kingsley at the bottom. If you have any questions about change management, if you have any questions about coaching, managing a club, putting together a youth program, any of that good stuff, shoot Kingsley an email, and I'm sure he'll be glad to help. I'll let y'all work that out, how that happens. I don't get involved in that, but again, this is the Louisa Project 2027, where we discuss education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. This has been a great discussion about change management and a whole lot more. Thank you very much for your time, brother.
Yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity, man, to share my experience.
Man, it was fun, bro. It was fun.
I love it.
I learned something about forever, man.
Memories are flowing up, bro. Oh, we've had a ball.
Yes, sir.
We've had a ball.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Maastricht is my favorite town in Europe. Not just because he's here, but I mean, if you want to go somewhere where it's quiet and you just want to be around people, not just the touristy places. If you want to go to some place in Europe, especially during the summer, especially you guys who like to look at the pretty girls. Not that I do anything like that.
Oh, no.
I gave that up long ago.
Okay.
All right. Maastricht is a great place to hang out. There are people here from all over the world. It's a great environment. It's growing so fast. The University of Maastricht, where my niece Amy, Flor, my other niece, Kingsley's daughter Flor, she goes to. She's done, isn't she? She graduated from the University of Maastricht. It's a great school, great town. If you want to go somewhere quiet, which it's a great place to be. Maastricht is an awesome place to be. Sorry, Flor. All right. Hey, son. Son's his other daughter. Okay. All right. I cover my bases. That way I don't get in trouble with my nieces. Yeah. All right. Much love, everybody. And again, this is the Louisa Project 2027. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as we did. And see you soon.
Peace.